always trying to take the best parts of things, and it almost encourages sugarcoating a little bit, which, as we've discussed, is not the best approach. You can't ignore those failures. Can't try to paint them over and whitewash them. I think it's taking a more balanced approach and looking at things as the way they are and accepting them for the way they are rather than trying to be too optimistic. But certainly, I think for me, it's work to come from a standpoint of optimism with increasingly an unvarnished look at how things really are.
I'm Michael Max, and this is Geological, the podcast that curates East Asian medicine and methods through the power of conversation. I was listening to a podcast conversation with a famous comedian. I suspect he learned to use humor to keep afloat a life that was challenged with all kinds of unfair difficulty and poor decisions, which was the beginning of his story, but certainly not the end. In the conversation, he said, "Failure is the foundation of success if you don't give up." Sounds right, doesn't it? That the foundation for having things work is in part laid down by finding out firsthand what doesn't, and taking the lessons meted out as instruction instead of punishment. There's a story about Thomas Edison discovering hundreds of different ways to successfully not make a light bulb before stumbling onto the right combination of variables that would lead to a commercially viable product. I've found there is a lot of getting it wrong on the way to getting it right. It's not for the faint of heart because, as pointed out, you have to figure out how not to give up on the process while at the same time giving up on old or obstructive habits that impede forward motion. It's a process of refinement that often enough creates forward momentum, not by adding in something new, but by paring away what doesn't work. It requires a capacity to delight in the process of discovery, regardless of the results. When I think about it, this is the attitude of play, of discovery for the joy of the ride, that feeling of delight in the process, of following along with a sense of, I wonder, of inquisitiveness for its own sake, and being willing for the world to crumble into something more mysteriously alive than you'd previously imagined. Failure just might be the yin side to the yang of accomplishment. It's the paring away that allows for the insight of how limitations or confusions have obscured possibilities that were right in front of your eyes. In this conversation, we visit with a longtime guest of the podcast. Neal Sivula has joined us in conversations on both Geological and its predecessor, Everyday Acupuncture. Neal brings a perspective rooted in being an inquisitive, experienced practitioner, a podcaster in the domain of veterinarian medicine, and a longtime meditator. In this conversation, we discuss the role of failure as part of the cultivative process of growing into the kind of practitioner that we are capable of becoming. There's a lot that's promised in the, air quotes here, travel brochure of what it means to be a practitioner. In this conversation, we explore what was left out of that optimistic roadmap. Not that the path is fraught with peril, but that failure is one of the loyal traveling companions and worth getting to be on friendly terms with. Especially for all y'all that are new to practice, there's some good stuff worth considering. We'll get into it right after this. These conversations come to you through the generous support of our sponsors and members. All the sponsors here provide helpful products or services that you'll find beneficial in your clinical work. Mayway Herbs is celebrating by sharing a glimpse of the year ahead on their website and supporting your patients with tonifying formulas for the active year ahead. Golden Flower Chinese Herbs celebrates the fire and spirit of the year ahead and reminds you that this is a good time to move forward with your passions and purpose. Later in the show, you'll hear why Jane is my favorite EMR with their extensive feature list and ability to customize to your unique clinic, and Blue Poppy reminds you to give some gratitude to yourself for the patients you've supported and the practice you built as we enter into this vibrant new year. Do be sure to visit the sponsors page on the Geological website to take advantage of all the special offers for listeners of the podcast.
Hi folks, I'm Yvonne Lau, president of Mayway Herbs. February marks the arrival of Chinese New Year, a time of renewal, momentum, and intention. As we enter the year of the fire horse, we're stepping into a year associated with movement, transformation, and strong active energy, making preparation and nourishment especially important. Throughout the month, we'll be sharing Chinese New Year-focused articles and podcast episodes, including our own predictions for the year ahead. We'll also be highlighting the importance of tonifying during the season, with resources and conversations centered on supporting qi, blood, yin, and yang to help patients build resilience and adapt to change. Since 1969, Mayway Herbs has been a trusted source for high-quality herbal products and educational resources designed to support thoughtful clinical practice. Please visit us at mayway.com to explore our offerings, sign up for our newsletter, and listen to our podcast, Chinese Medicine Matters. From all of us here at our family business, we wish you a healthy, happy, and fulfilling new year.
The year of the fire horse is here. Saddle up for a year of passion and energy, bold creativity, and the momentum to make things happen. At Golden Flower Chinese Herbs, they have spent 36 years walking alongside practitioners like you, supporting the ancient traditions that heal and transform. But this year carries something special, and just at a time when it's most needed. The fire horse brings courage, connection, the kind of unstoppable energy that turns vision into reality. As we step into this new cycle together, everyone at Golden Flower wants to wish you all of that and more. May your practice be filled with creative breakthroughs. May your relationships deepen. May you find the drive to accomplish what matters most. This is your year to move forward with purpose and passion. Golden Flower Chinese Herbs, rooted in tradition, celebrating the fire and spirit of the year ahead. Neal Sivula, welcome back to Geological.
It's great to see you, Michael.
It's good to see you too. Wonderful to have you here. You know, we had our first podcast conversation before there was a Geological. It was episode 31 back in the days of Everyday Acupuncture Podcast.
Yes.
I don't remember how we came together on that, but we did. How did we come together? Do you remember how that happened?
I have no idea.
I don't either. It's so funny how things unfold. And then you were here in the early days of Geological, episode 18. Been quite a ride.
It has.
And now you have a podcast.
I do. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Sure. It's called The Integrative Veterinarian. I interview holistic or integrative veterinarians about their life stories and how they've got where they've gotten to and lessons they've learned along the way. And it's been wonderful.
It's really fun hearing not just what other people know, but how they got there.
For sure.
I mean, in some ways, that's the most interesting part. We were talking a few months back, because every now and then we just touch bases. And we somehow got on this idea of so much in life requires that we're able to fail and have that take us forward.
Yeah.
That the troubles that we run into, I heard somebody say it once this way, that what's in the way is the way.
Right.
It sounds great. Oh, that's so wonderful, except it feels awful.
Right. My Zen lessons would say that a bad situation is a good situation.
Again, you know, at the level of an Instagram post, oh, that's so inspiring. That's so wonderful. And then when you're in the middle of it, it's a whole different story.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you do? How do you keep the boat afloat when it feels like it's coming apart? Or do you just let it come apart?
It's one day at a time. We're micro business owners like you, and, you know, it's a day-to-day thing. You get knocked down 10 times and get up 11.
Again, it sounds so simple. You know, I grew up in a time, you know, I'm looking at the color of your hair, so, you know, we're probably not dissimilar generations. There was this whole idea that if you did the right things, right, you go to the right school and you get the right job, you do the right things, you behave the right way, life is going to work out. You're going to be okay. But like so often, it just doesn't work that way. There's this thing from the Bhagavad Gita that I've heard people talk about. And I remember the first time that I heard it, I thought, well, that's just crazy. That's just stupid. Like, what the hell are they talking about? But it goes something to the effect of, you are entitled to your work, but not to the results of it.
Exactly.
So why would you even start? Like, why would anybody set off on like a business? Like, we've got businesses. Why would you set off on something where you're going to put a lot into it if there's not going to be that reward?
Well, there is the reward. It's just coupled with those roadblocks, downside.
Tell me more about that.
Well, there's that for us, the client or the patient, that didn't turn out the way we wanted to. Even as a small business, there's the employees that aren't as dedicated to the business as we are. As a property owner of business, there's that washing machine that breaks down, that air conditioner that doesn't work, the power that goes out, the hassle of switching internet providers and having a seamless transition in the office. All those things.
Where do you think this idea comes from that it's supposed to be easy? Like this idea that if you're really on your path, right, then the universe is going to reward you because, gosh darn it, you're on your path.
Adulting is hard. That was not in the travel brochure.
When we grew up, I think adulting was not even a word.
Right.
Yeah. So if you could rewrite that travel brochure, what would you say in it?
I think I'd say there's going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be things you're going to worry about. The caring is important, but also the potential upsides of doing what we do and working the way we work and helping people and animals, in my case. It's worth it. It's worth it, but it comes with a cost.
Let's talk about those costs for a moment. I think you've really put your finger on something here, and it might be important. This gets into shadowy stuff. When COVID happened and nobody knew what was going on and the world closed down, like literally overnight, I shut my practice down, like many did. And, it was uncertain. It was weird too, because I actually applied to get money from the government. I hadn't asked for money. I've never asked for money from the government, right? It's very weird. Oh, I'm going to ask for money from the government, then I'm not going to pay back because I can do that. It was a weird moment of recognizing I've got a certain belief system and now it's being broken apart. So there was that. But the weirdest thing, Neal, was about 3 weeks into it, I had this sensation, this recognition that I was becoming unburdened, that not working and not seeing patients, I could feel this burden coming like off my shoulders, metaphorically. And it was very, very strange because I really like my work. And I think I'm very fortunate to be able to do the work that I do. And so this thing about like, wow, this is amazing. I'm feeling unburdened. I'm like, burden? It's a privilege to do what I do. But the truth of the matter is there's burden that you carry when you care for others. When you hold that space and you create that space, right? You create a clinic and you got all the troubles with the air conditioners and roof and stuff that you were just mentioning, right? And I think there is a burden that we do shoulder in doing the work. And at least for me, I had gone decades without recognizing that I was carrying that until COVID came along and took it away.
Yeah, it's interesting to find out what happens when you take your foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah. What have you found when you take your foot off the gas?
Well, we really haven't. We were able to work through COVID, but we even notice it. We get into our daily routine. The body and the mind get used to rising at this time, doing this, doing the work. And even, we're in the winter holiday season, and this week we had 2 days off in a row, and it can throw you a little bit. The mind is looking for things to do, and the body is unsure of this rest period, and it's a difficult adjustment to allow that extra space for thoughts and musings and rest. It's almost counterproductive in a way to get back to the routine after that little bit of rest, but try to make time for that as a scheduled thing. Run when you can, walk when you must, kind of thing. Throughout the day, throughout the course of the work week.
Run when you can, walk when you must. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, it is weird. We're recording this here in that sort of slack tide between Christmas and New Year's. And for sure, I know for myself, very similar to you, I've had my foot on the gas. End of the year, foot on the gas. I'm mashing the pedal. And I've noticed the same thing. Oh, I go from 75 to 0, and I'm actually agitated and annoyed and like finicky. It's weird, right? It should be like, finally, great. I'm going to go binge watch that thing I like. But no, the mind will come up with all sorts of noise.
How is that for you? I've heard you speak multiple times about the journeyer approach to your work. I know I'm in the same space. Ratcheting down external commitments, concentrating, making the work the thing, and just being the best for everything that comes in the door, reflecting on that, not having less and less, fewer and fewer concerns outside the walls of the clinic, in a professional way anyway. So when we get that slack time, I find that just ruminating on how I can do better, how the craft can be improved.
Yes. First of all, I like that word journeyman. Before I did Chinese medicine many years ago, I used to do glass blowing, right? And I spent a few years doing that. It's a very hands-on and physical. Offhand glass blowing is very physical activity. You're dealing with heat and molten glass, and you got to be careful. And there's this whole idea that there are people and they are virtuoso glass blowers. Oh my God, they're amazing. There's not a single wasted movement. They're phenomenal. The way they dance with gravity, unbelievable. But those folks are a little few and far between. A lot of people are like craftsmen and journeymen. It's something, you're good at it, but you're not necessarily virtuoso at it. Like masters are rare creatures in a sense. But as a journeyman, you can do good enough work, like good work, but it's something that you work at and you work on. And I think with medicine, the idea of it's something that we work at and we work on, and in a way, the work also works on us, right? In doing the work, we end up transformed. And for me, that idea of journeyman is helpful because it reminds me I got a lot to learn. I've got a lifetime of learning. And so it's like it forces me to pay attention. So I just like that word, for one. And I hadn't thought about it until you just bring it up now, my friend. Just the word itself, journeyman, it's like, okay, it's like you're on this life journey. I mean, it really is. You can take it from that side and it has a different flavor and a different feel. I would say the work is constantly surprising me in what I see and what I experience and the troubles I run into. You were talking about inside of clinic, it's like there's something that happens that's different than the outside world. What's your sense of that? How is inside those clinic walls different for you than outside? What's going on in there?
We have the benefit of our own space that with the downsides we've talked about, the day-to-day hassles, but the upside is we've created an environment through everything from the way we schedule in a relaxed way, from the decor, from the smells, the sounds. And it's a continual process, but we've set ourselves up to create the best environment to do the work that we want to do. And that sets the table for whatever's going to happen in the room.
I like that setting the table idea. We're setting something up, creating a context. Now, okay, so that's the outer world. And yeah, it's delightful to have a space that you enjoy inhabiting, right? Because like our patients are in there for 20 minutes or an hour or whatever, depending on what we're doing and who our patient is. They're in there for just a moment of their day. We live there. So that's the outside world. What about your inside world?
That's arriving to the work, ready to go, with a fresh, open mind, taking every patient that comes in with what they bring that day and putting forth the best effort to help them in the best way we can. And for us, it's a little different than your situation working on the patient. We've got the patient and we've got the person that brought them there.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got those variables that come into play, and that adds an extra layer of things to worry about or to deal with, but it also makes it one of the best things too.
Tell me more about it being one of the best things.
As you know from our practice, we see a lot of older pets, and it's those things as they age and as they're in the later years of their life, the mobility issues, the continence issues, the cognition issues, and if we can help their people with getting them up the stairs so that one member of the family doesn't have to sleep on the couch because the dog can't go upstairs any longer, or if we can eliminate them having or reduce having them have accidents in the house because cleanup has been a stress. And for those patients that aren't going to get better, if we can ease that transition for everyone, that's where the joy comes.
Yeah, you probably see a lot of that in your work, don't you?
Yes.
A lot of that transition, losing. Man, what is it about critters anyway, Neal, that makes them different from people? I mean, losing a person that you love is one thing. I'm just thinking back on the critters that I've lost in my life. It's different.
Yes. Maybe it's their fifth pet, but we also get many people in their 30s and it's their first dog or their first cat, or it's that cat that got them through college and maybe even a marriage or a second marriage, a job, 3 or 4 moves. There's just a lot of things tied up in that.
This episode is brought to you by Jane, a practice management software and EMR designed to help practitioners run their business without running around. Managing a practice can mean juggling more tools than you ever planned to. One for booking, one for documentation, another for billing. Each solves a small part of the puzzle, but because they don't work together, the manual admin still adds up. Jane helps practitioners connect their core tools all in one place. Payments are taken and recorded directly into Jane. Jane Websites helps new patients find your clinic online, and if something needs attention, Jane's support team is available by phone, email, or chat with an understanding of how your entire system works together. For added peace of mind, Jane includes privacy and security features like 2-step verification, role-based access levels, and HIPAA and PPDA compliance, so you can feel confident your practice and patients' data are protected. To learn more about how Jane can support you, your patients, and your business, head to jane.app/demo. And if you're ready to get started, you can use the code CHIOLOGICAL for a 1-month grace period on your new Jane account. Do pets abandon people? I'm just thinking to myself as we're having this conversation. People abandon each other all the time.
Yeah.
Or just decide, yeah, you know what, I'm going my own way. Enough of this, whatever. Do pets abandon people?
We really don't see that.
Yeah, it's just not so much. They're pretty loyal. Huh. Maybe that's a piece of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes me think a little bit about the kind of work that we do as practitioners. Like in some ways, it's our job not to abandon the people that come to see us. It's our job to accompany them, like regardless of who they are or what they bring or the beliefs that they have. It's our job to accompany them. I guess like in the way that your pet would accompany you. Your pet accompanies you with anything. They're along for the ride. So this is something I've had conversations with some other folks recently about. What do you do with patients who come in and they're wearing a t-shirt that makes you go, I don't think I like you, right from the get-go, you know? And yet they're coming to us for care, and it might be emblematic of many things that we hold dear, but our job is to accompany them.
Yes. Yes. And for us, it's the fact that they've come in, they've shown up, they want help. We can give it.
Can we? I mean, in some ways, I'm pushing the edge here because, when it comes to politics or belief or religion or whatever, it gets spicy fast. But as a practitioner, I think part of that journeyman experience or journey woman, journey person, whatever experience is being able to notice what comes up for us ourselves and somehow mitigate it in service of being with other people.
That's what you got to do. Acknowledge it and move on.
What if you can't move on? I hear a lot of people talking about, yeah, I just can't. This is like a new popular thing that I hear people saying. It's like all over in the culture. Yeah, I just can't.
Mm-hmm. We do our best. We do our best. If this relationship doesn't work, then we suggest a modification. Let's send you somewhere else that might fit better. And that's not necessarily a political or religious. For us, it's the way we work. You schedule an appointment, you show up when you're supposed to. We schedule an appointment, we're available to you when your appointment is. That's one part of our contract, is that we're going to be there for you, but you have to be there for us. And if we don't have an agreement in that way, then perhaps another place is better for you.
Mm-hmm. So if somebody misses an appointment, what happens?
Well, we let them know they missed it. Sometimes they never even realized they missed it. And if it's all an attitude, something came up, we had an emergency, but just in this day and age, the way we structure, we have a pretty relaxed, we're not seeing people every 15 minutes, so we need those people to come in. And we're fortunate enough that we're busy. We have people that are waiting a long time, unfortunately, to get in. And so the onus is on that person who doesn't show that we've got people waiting and you're doing a disservice to them as well. We've got employees that we have to pay. And so if we have to levy a fee, we will. And sometimes that creates the end of the relationship.
Mm.
But certainly not for illness. And a lot of times it comes down to attitude. I'm really sorry this came up. I'm caring for an elderly parent or, but it's a relationship.
Yeah. And I think most practitioners have some sort of policy around this because it's always, in some ways, easier just to go to the policy. Well, our policy on this is XYZ, when you're going to be charged. I levy that kind of depending on the attitude. If someone, this, that, the other thing, and because of the world, and it's not my fault, and I didn't make it, I'm probably going to levy a fee. Like you were saying, something else came up, and it's not habitual. There are some people where it's like habitual. And that, I think the fee is a really helpful boundary. Again, this is kind of a failure thing. There's a failure unfolding in this relationship. Is this even a correct relationship? And sometimes it's the failure of people to do what they say they're going to do and what we expect them to do. It's like, oh, now I'm going to have to take an action on that. I hate having to be the hammer. I hate being the hammer. I've got a friend, really great guy, smart businessman, kind of a consultant dude. I really respect him because he's very open-minded. He's very caring. He's very communicative. But man, when he needs to put the hammer down, kaboom. And it's not with malice. And it's not necessarily with delight, but it's with a kind of capacity. I would say he has really great discernment. And when that hammer needs to go down, the hammer just goes down. And I admire him. Sometimes I look at him and I think, man, I need to be a little more like this guy in this situation. I fail at putting the hammer down.
Yeah, it's difficult, especially in the healing profession.
Yeah, especially in the healing profession. And this is where it gets weird. Well, maybe not weird. But this might be even more why we need to be able to hold those boundaries for the people that we're looking after. Because people are having trouble in their life, and part of it is because they've got really lousy boundaries, or they can't somehow live up to their word. It's kind of our job to help them with that.
I agree.
Neal, what do you do when people decide they don't like you because of that?
Well, that's when we offer an alternative. This is the way it's got to be. And if that's unacceptable, then we can refer you elsewhere. This is the way we have to do it here. In order to have the environment that we want, this is the way it has to work.
So you are coming from a stance then of, in caring for this environment that is really yours to care for, so that you can do the work you do, so that you can bring the healing that you can to the pets and to the people, then this is just part of your job.
Yes. If you arrive late, we may not see you because our promise to you is that we will work on time. You will not wait in the room for 15, 20 minutes or an hour like you might somewhere else. When your appointment's at 10 a.m., you're going to be seen at 10 a.m.
Yeah. So you're the boss.
Well, partially.
I mean, boss in that, I'm thinking Harry Truman back in the day when he was president, nice Missouri boy. I think he had a little sign on his desk, like in the Oval Office, that said the buck stops here.
Right.
Yeah. Are you comfortable with that? I mean, what do you do when you're uncomfortable with the stuff you have to do?
Oh, it's extremely upsetting. Do we want to have to ask someone to pay for a visit that they forgot about or didn't show up or got too busy? No, it creates conflict and it's uncomfortable. And as much as I try to mitigate that, I have to worry about the staff going to be abused because of that. And so there's a lot of heartache that goes into that. And so, of course, that ends up with reducing the fee or trying to make things so to bend over backwards a little bit and to our own detriment to ease that discomfort or mitigate any sort of blowback certainly on the staff, because we never want that and we won't accept that. That's a promise to them. So it's very uncomfortable. Part of the gig. Not in the brochure, but part of the gig.
Man, there's so much that was not in the brochure.
Yes.
Sometimes this is funny. I hadn't thought about this until just about this moment, which is why it's fun to do the podcast. But maybe new practitioners could use the book of, here's the stuff no one told you was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's still a great thing having your own gig, but just know that these things are part of it.
And it sounds good. Again, it sounds good on the outside. Oh, guess what? This is so amazing. You're going to go on a journey where you get to learn your whole life through.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds great, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Lifelong learning and, You're going to get to explore all these amazing different ways of interacting with people and helping them and finding out how medicine works, and being able to be of service in the world. But most of it is going to come through pain and failure. Are you familiar at all with the idea of agile development in the software industry?
Yes.
Have you heard about you? You have?
Yes.
How did you hear about that? How do you know about that?
I don't know where I may have come across that because I don't program or anything like that, but that phrase is familiar, yes.
So what do you know about it? What's your takeaway on agile development?
Just dealing with the things that come up and pivoting when necessary.
Yes. So I used to spend some time in the computer industry before I did acupuncture. And back in the day, like back in the 80s, they'd have these announcements on software. And it was mostly a lot of hand waving because it was actually vaporware. They didn't have it yet. They were still building it, but they're trying to gain market share and buy our stuff that's not here yet. Because we got this big thing that we're planning and it's coming. And then that gave way to something that was literally more agile. Like, okay, we got a thing here. Here's version 1. And it's like a minimal viable product. Like it'll get you going. You can get started. We actually don't know the other features that need to be in here yet because it has to be out in the world and then the world will tell you what else needs to be put into this software. And so they came up with this idea of agile development, minimal viable product. You get it up and running. And then exactly what you were saying, the feedback that you get tells you what else needs to be put in and developed.
Sounds like our training.
It sounds like our training. Again, that sounds really cool and it sounds really smart. And it makes sense because you're only focusing on what needs to be focused on based on really what the world is telling you. The problem is when you do this, and I've done this with the podcast over the years, the problem is you find out about it because I don't like this, I don't like that, this doesn't work good, I want this, I don't want that. It sounds like complaint. It feels like failure. All the things that you need to make it better. And this includes how we practice. We hear about it through, oh, that doesn't work. That's broken. This isn't what I want.
Part of being a journeyman.
It kind of toughens you up, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes.
So what do you do with that? I mean, I get it. You fall down, you get back up. Neal, when you don't feel like getting back up, what do?
Still get back up.
Still get back up. But how do you do that? But does it take you time? Do you need sometimes to rest and recover, walk away for a little bit maybe, or get counsel? To say get back up, okay, I hear that, but, sometimes you take a pretty bad blow. You're not sure you want to get up. Sometimes you think, you know what? Maybe going to work at Lowe's is a better idea. At least at Lowe's, I know where, the screwdrivers are and I can direct people to them. So what do you do when you don't feel like getting back up? Or you get back up, but you don't know what direction to go in?
I think that's where you get back to that minimal viable product, that training, and decide, do I need to go layer things in a different direction? Do I need to add a technique? Do I need to stop doing a technique? Simplify, take that feedback, those failures, and gradually over what's been now decades for me, get to a place where I'm very comfortable with what I do and what doesn't work for me.
So you kind of build that muscle up.
Yeah, through failure.
Through failure.
Yeah.
Hearing you talk about maybe you need to add a technique, maybe you need to stop doing something. This, I think you put your finger on something. And I see this a lot in our trade. And I've seen it in myself for sure. That when I don't know how to do something or I feel like I want to do something better, I'm often looking to add something. almost always,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking, oh, what do I need to add? But sometimes, and I certainly see this with patients, I think this is something patients have taught me as well, because they're also often looking to add something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But many times, it's not that they need to add something, or us as practitioners, it's not that we need to add something. We actually need to stop doing something.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that one's harder.
Very much so. Very much so. People want to think that they're doing everything, so that in a lot of people's minds, that means adding every possible thing. And to be able to have someone be good with addition by subtraction, it's a skill. It's a skill.
Addition by subtraction. I like that. It's really hard. I'm terrible at it.
Mm-hmm.
For many years, at the beginning of the year, I would make a little resolution. Not a resolution, more like a theme. Like, what's my theme for this year?
Uh-huh.
And it would be simplify. Like for years, I've stopped using simplify. Not because I've done it, but because I keep failing at it. It's hard to take my foot off the gas pedal.
Yes.
I think this is one of the reasons that I enjoy doing clinical work. Because pedal doesn't work in a clinical setting, at least for me.
Yeah.
This failure thing, I mean, I find that is tricky to talk about.
Oh, of course. Goes against everything that we see out there now. You know, your Instagram feeds are full of success, not failure. Curated successes and not the struggle. That's what people expect.
Yeah, we see it in most entertainment as well, right? Most great stories follow a very simple theme that stories have followed almost forever. And in some ways, it's mythic, right? The hero's journey, which involves horrible failure and coming apart. But at least in the stories that we see, they come back together at some point, and it's all okay. And I mean, I remember when I first went to acupuncture school, in the first few weeks, our teachers would tell us the stories of their failures. Oh, I thought it was this. I gave these herbs. This happened. Oh, it got worse. Oh, it got worse. Okay, well, that means, it wasn't this. It was that. I thought it was heat. It turns out it was cold. I switched to the cold formula. I heated them up, and those symptoms went away, and, they got better. All right, so it was a teaching story of using failure to get to success. But here's the thing. I don't think I ever heard my teachers talk about the failures that they had that they never figured out. Yep, here's a tough one. I never was able to help that person. We don't really hear those stories in public too often, right? Those are in our private clinic walls. Actually, I was at a conference a few weeks ago, and there was a person there talking about treating highly sensitive patients. And she was very upfront. Yep, this one here, wasn't able to help him. I was like, oh my God. She said it in public. So I'm sure you saw Star Wars. Yes.
Yes.
Which was your favorite?
The first one.
Because?
I think the first in a series is always the best for me.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree. Except I think with Star Wars, for me, the second.
Ah. Why is that?
Because it's all come apart.
Yeah.
It's all come apart. Right? They had their big success, but it's all come apart. And yeah, it's the hero's journey. So at some point it's going to come together. But there's something for me about being able to stay with, oh shit, I don't know what to do right now. And it's broken. And it may never become unbroken again. There's something about being able to inhabit that and not be thrown away by it, but stay with it. You were talking earlier, like you take your foot off the gas pedal. I surrender. I'm powerless. There's nothing I can do about this except stay with it and be broken. And here's the weird thing. I mean, there's times now where I feel like not trying to get back up is the right thing to do. At least for a period of time, like long enough to maybe digest the experience.
Reflection is a big part of practice and life.
Tell me more about reflection.
Why did this go the way it did? What can I do better as part of the journey? What can I do better next time? What might I need to take away or add? Accepting that failure without quitting and without becoming attached to it.
Yeah. Accepting the failure without quitting. Ooh, that's kind of a little Zen-y koan, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Accept it without quitting. Maybe even letting things go without quitting.
Yes.
I'm aware in this conversation, often conversations, they're just kind of wild. You just ping this idea, ping that one. There's a lot of quiet here in this one, which is surprising to me.
I think it's a good thing.
How's it a good thing?
I don't think we always need to feel the need to fill every space. The silent parts are as important as the parts with words.
Chinese New Year is coming up, and this year we welcome the fire horse, a symbol of strength, momentum, and forward motion. Blue Poppy reminds us the fire horse is an invitation to move boldly. But before charging ahead, it's worth taking a moment to pause, to give gratitude to yourself for the patience you've supported, the practice you've built, and the resilience it takes to keep showing up. As you head into this new year, take stock of what you're carrying, your tools, your resources, your foundation, and make sure your saddle is set for where you're going next. At Blue Poppy, they support the practitioners who keep the medicine moving forward with dependable acupuncture and herbal supplies that you can trust, so you're equipped, balanced, and ready for the road ahead. Here's to entering the year of the fire horse grounded, prepared, and aligned. Happy Chinese New Year from everyone at Blue Poppy. Yeah, for sure. When I think about those moments where I feel like I've been knocked down or misunderstood or broken or it hasn't gone the way that I expected, taking a beat, pausing, sleeping on it, feeling shitty for a while.
Yes.
And just like, how's it going today? Well, it's just kind of shitty today.
Yep.
And that just where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got some practices that help you get through these moments where the foot's not on the gas? In fact, it would be a mistake to put it on the gas, but man, it's uncomfortable having the foot off the gas.
Well, as you know, I'm a Buddhist, so I'm a work in progress, but that's helped significantly. I think it's really added to my longevity and my usefulness. So those failures are still going to come up, but it's helped with the way I deal with them.
It's added to your longevity.
Reduce that, I think, that burnout that people of all walks inevitably seem to end up in. Along with the approach, the journeyer approach, I can see 10 of the patients of the day with the same problem, and they're all just so unique, and being able to approach them as individuals and their situations as individuals rather than 10 cases of X, and looking at the outcomes of those and the positives and the negatives, the successes and failures, so to speak, and learning from those and bringing those lessons into the next patient, the next day, the next week, keeping it fresh, keeps it very fresh as a continual process of improvement. attempted improvement.
Continual process of attempted improvements.
Yeah. No rest. This isn't good enough. It's got to be a little better.
I remember hearing someone say, and I can't remember where it was, it might have been on some meditation retreat, that when you fail at what you're doing, especially with meditation, because there's a lot of failure in that, I remember them saying, oh, well, okay, you just start again.
That's exactly
What
right.
do? You start again.
Yes. Catching yourself is the win. Catching yourself drifting, failing, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah.
So you would recommend some kind of reflective practice?
Absolutely. Whether that's meditation, whether that's prayer, whether that's journaling, whether that's all of the above, extremely helpful. The failures are still going to come. It's just finding the best way to make them useful.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny. I don't know if you've had this experience. You probably have. I suspect the listeners have too, to some degree. There are times I have had terrible things happen in my life. Marriages come apart. Jobs that were like really great that turned not great. Troubles of some sort that forced a change in direction. And it was awful at the time. And then I look back on it in 5 years, maybe 10 years, depends. I look back on that disruption and I think, oh my God, what a lucky break. Which is not to minimize the suffering that goes with it, because you get a boatload of it.
Yes.
But in time, maybe it was a lucky break.
Agreed. A bad situation is a good situation.
I think you said that a little earlier, didn't you?
I did.
A bad situation is a good situation.
Yes.
Oh my God. Maybe that's what we should title this podcast. A bad situation is a good situation.
I think so.
So you're an optimist.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think I am too. I think it gets me in a lot of trouble sometimes.
Oh, agreed.
Because,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. You agree?
Agreed.
So what's some of the good trouble that your optimism's gotten you into, besides being the kind of veterinarian that you are?
Oh, I just think always looking at trying to take the best parts of things and almost encourages sugarcoating a little bit, which, as we've discussed, is not the best approach. You can't ignore those failures. Can't try to paint them over and whitewash them. I think it's taking a more balanced approach and looking at things as the way they are and accepting them for the way they are, rather than trying to be too optimistic. But certainly, I think for me, it's work to come from a standpoint of optimism with increasingly an unvarnished look at how things really are.
Yeah. I would say that my optimism gets tempered by reality all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think speaks to that unvarnished look.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather make the mistakes of optimism than pessimism, though.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. At the same time, increasingly, I find that there are things that I add to my not to-do list.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Comes with experience.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I suspect there's really no way around it. Might as well embrace it. Maybe I think it really is what takes us forward. Our successes are useful. They're absolutely useful. And I think it's important to remember them. Not in a way that's inflative of who we think we are, but just like, it's good to recognize when at least for me, it's helpful to recognize when I've achieved something and go, oh yeah, I really worked hard at that. And now it's done, and celebrate for a moment. Like pause, take it in, not stop, but recognize the good stuff along with the troublesome stuff that I'd rather not look at. I think it works on both sides of the equation. It's helpful to look at what's not working, and it's also helpful to recognize what does work. So you could just kind of It's like, oh yeah, that's a tool that I got. Okay. And it works pretty good. And I mostly know how to use it. I know when to pull it out. I know when to pull it out, and I know when not to pull it out.
Absolutely. That's what the failures teach you. You know, if it worked every time, you'd pull it out every time.
I think that's called an assembly line.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be the opposite of the kind of work that we do when we practice East Asian medicine.
Yes.
Any books that you like on dealing with failure? Have any that you've read over the years that have been helpful, or you go back to it from time to time?
Nothing specifically dedicated to failure. Again, my teacher's teacher wrote a great text, Dropping Ashes on the Buddha. And I think it's a good read for everyone, whether they're Buddhist or not.
Uh-huh. Dropping Ashes on the Buddha.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that book.
Yeah. Sung-san was a Korean monk that came to the States in the 60s, I believe. And it's a text of his. And wonderful reflections on how to pay attention, how to take the wins and the losses, and how a bad situation can be a good situation.
Okay. I think that's probably a good place to put a pin in it for today then.
I agree.
It's always wonderful to see you and hang out with you. Again, Neal, I'm not sure how our paths connected, probably through Everyday Acupuncture Podcast. I suspect you somehow started listening to that because the universe just works that way. But it's really a delight to, on occasion, take a little walk with you.
It's been great, Michael. I appreciate your work. I appreciate everything you've brought to me through the podcast. It's really expanded my way of thinking.
And you've got a podcast of your own.
I do. I do.
Know.
And that's been wonderful as well.
You got your own radio show.
Yes. It's been a blessing. I'm an introvert by nature, and those conversations with those people are my way of getting around the problem of someone I would have seen at a conference but not worked up the gumption to sit down and chat with. So this is my way of getting those conversations and getting them recorded for others to appreciate as well. But it's allowed me to talk to my heroes and others that are coming up and just learning so much from them. It's been a blessing.
So even though you're an introvert, you still have this sort of enzymatic quality of connection.
Yes.
That's great. Well, it's the new year here, so all the best to you as we go into it.
And to you, Michael.
All right, Neal.
All
Until
right.
next time then.
Okay.
It's helpful to have pals like Neal to chew on the challenges of practice, to notice how an inspirational theme sounds inspiring in a quote, but feels brutal in real time, to look clear-eyed at failure and see it's not the opposite of the path, it's often the path itself. It helps to lay to rest the fantasy that if you do the right things, then life will work out neatly. But more often than is comfortable, adulthood, practice, and business all quietly refuse that promise. Clinics break, people don't show up, outcomes don't cooperate, and yet the work keeps calling us back. I think it is helpful to get friendly with uncertainty. Learn to stay present when things come apart. It's good to have goals and plans, but also to leave room for the world's feedback and response, not to tell us that we are wrong, but where we can do things in better ways that we'd not imagined. That sometimes adding skill means to stop doing what doesn't work. The practice, it doesn't demand perfection, but it does ask for reflection, course correction, and the willingness to start again.